Good evening and welcome to Face to Face. I'm Niresh Eliathambi. Well, the election campaign is in full swing, and just 2 days ago, one of the major candidates, President Ranil Wickremesinghe, received some welcome news for his campaign when the Ceylon Workers' Congress decided to extend its support to the president. Now, this has been something that a lot of people did expect, but finally the National Council of the CWC met on Sunday and took the decision formally. To discuss this and other matters related to the election and the economy, we have with us a person who is no stranger to this show, Senthil Thondaman, President of the CWC and Governor of the Eastern Province. Welcome, Governor.
Hi, good evening.
Tell us about the reasons for this decision to be taken. I know it was expected, but you all did sit down and discuss it, analyze it, and finally take that decision. So what was it that struck you about this candidate, President Wickremesinghe, as opposed to the other major candidates?
We have a very good relationship working with President Ranil Wickremesinghe, not from today. During my late great-grandfather's time, late Honorable Saumyamurthy Thondaman had worked with him when President Ranil Wickremesinghe was then the Education Minister. He had done a lot of development on education in the plantation community. Then he has also worked with my late leader and my uncle Honorable Armund Thondaman when he was the Prime Minister and my uncle was the Minister of Housing Authority and other developments in the plantation community. So that time also President Ranil Wickremesinghe was the Prime Minister then, and he has helped us a lot. And now he is the present President, I am the Governor. And I could see him that he's a very liberal man. He isn't a racist. First of all, for a minority to have a confidence on the president, you must have to look at their behaviors and to look at their attitudes towards the community and all that, to see he's very fair among all the Tamil, Muslims, Sinhala, Christians, among all communities he's very fair. And I don't find him pushing racism anywhere. So he's a man who puts full stop to racism, and this country could have gone to still more heights if this racism is ruled out. And I feel that this racism started not long back, in a very short period of time, few years before, just for certain politicians to make sure that they are elected all times. This racism was put among the people, and I feel that going to school in young days together, you don't find him whether he's a Muslim or Sinhalese and all that. When you grow up, you immediately have a break showing the religion, and those things were major thoughts which always we consider. So, and next was President Ranil Wickremesinghe is contesting on an independent party. He is not contesting in his political party UNP, which also has an elephant symbol, but he has dropped that and he's come as a common man to take the country forward. So his intention of dropping the politics and going forward as a nation was very impressive. When you take the other candidates, they have their political party first and then the nation. So at this junction, the country must survive for others to do politics. So I feel now, yes, Sri Lanka is still continuing in the danger path in economic crisis. We have crossed almost, if there's 20 steps, we have completed 10 steps. And still we have another 10 steps to go. And I strongly believe that a man from 0, if he can take it to 10 steps, and again taking from 10 to 20 is not a big issue or not a big difficulty, because he knows the art of getting this out. But if I'm going to support somebody sometimes who is not able to take it forward, and then we go reverse back in the 10 steps, and I don't think this is going to retrieve after that. As a nation, as a country, when you compare with all the countries which has fallen on crisis, you won't believe Bangladesh gave us support And now to see Bangladesh is in a very bigger crisis, politically, economically, and all sorts of crises. So, and countries like a lot of countries, I don't want to mention the names, they have not able to still get retrieved from this crisis, which they had also fallen during the same time Sri Lanka fell. But to see Sri Lanka has come out of it to a very good extent. So I feel that yes, President is doing a good job, and here I forget my party politics, and I forget that, because I have worked against this president for 15 years. I've been on Mahinda Rajapaksa's side. We've been supporting him because at that time we needed a leader like him to finish off the war, and now we need a leader like Ranil Wickremesinghe to finish off this economic crisis. So you have different crises in the country where different leaders are specialists in that. So I feel that it's simple like that. You might have a heart pain, you can't go to an orthosurgeon or you can't go to a ENT doctor and talk about a heart pain. So you have to go to a cardiologist like that. When you have an economic crisis, I think Ranil Wickremesinghe has an experience how to handle it, and he's also much knowledgeable what to do next. So I don't want to take a risk here. So that's why the Ceylon Workers Congress, we decided let's go with President Ranil Wickremesinghe and make sure that he takes Sri Lanka out of this economic crisis.
Now you mentioned communal politics, and this time we have among the 39 candidates, there is one candidate who has been fielded from a section of the Tamil parties, the political parties, and the candidate is hailing from the Badiklo district. Would this have any effect on the election at all, where the Tamil vote of the east and perhaps the north is concerned?
I don't think so, because his own political party refuses that it is not a candidate proposed by their party, and they said that he is taken his own decision. When his political party itself doesn't support him, I don't think there's going to be support from the outside people, and it's not going to disturb the present equation how the government is having the support.
Interesting indeed, and it remains to be seen, of course, on the 21st of September, or we would actually get the results on the 22nd of September. Now, Governor, let's switch to the campaigning itself. The CWC, having thrown its weight behind President Ranil Wickremesinghe, will doubtless now be organizing rallies and so on, especially in the plantation regions. And there are, I believe, 12 districts which have plantations, very heavily, of course, in the central province and the Uber province. But also, I believe there are plantations in the southern province, and then the Kalutara district in the western province, and even the Kurunegala district. So quite a big chunk of the country there. How do you all plan to do these campaign rallies and so on?
Wherever there's a tea bush, we will do our campaign. So first of all, you know that though we support President Ranil Wickremesinghe, we had our reservations on a lot of things which our National Council has raised on the development side. What is the next 5-year plan and all that and everything. So all these points were put together, and I had a discussion with His Excellency the President, and he was quite positive, saying that whatever request was made on the welfare of the plantation community, he is willing to take it forward on priority basis. So on that basis, we thought we will be doing an MOU with the President, and on that MOU, we will make sure that what are the rights we expect to be preserved, what are the development we look forward, and what are the other issues we are looking on a longer picture as a nation. We'll all be taken into those drafts, and once President signs those drafts, then I think we'll have a full-fledged campaign with the points what we have raised to His Excellency.
Now, I believe you're expecting to sign the MOU with the President on the 30th of this month?
Probably, yes.
Right. What is there that is new in this MOU? Of course, you have just obtained the 1,700 rupees wage for the plantation workers. What more is there that can be expected in this MOU?
No, the plantation community doesn't stick to only the plantation workers. There are a lot of people outside the plantation workers. Now, for example, you take it, this 1,700 wage is only for the plantation workers. Now, for example, there are different community in different field from the plantation. They are into government jobs, they are into private sectors, they are into multiple businesses, they are into agriculture. There are a lot of people. So we are looking forward for a solution for all the communities living in the plantation, especially when you take even housing program. From 1980 till 2024, we have completed only around 40,000 houses. In that, 4,000 houses was given by Indian government. When 1980, my great-grandfather, late Saumyamuthi Thondaman, started building houses, 2015 January 8th, when we handed over the ministry to the other parties who were elected from the other side, we had completed 36,000 houses. So now there's another 4,000 houses which was completed by them in their process. So to see around 40,000 houses what so far is being done, but we need minimum of 2 lakh houses. So 40,000 houses in, if you can see, in 44 years, and we need 2 lakh houses. So where is this going to end? So we need some solutions for all these things. So that's why we thought, we suggested President also that the present settlement and surrounding settlement to be gazetted by the government, taken away from the plantation companies, so that this area will be under the divisional secretary and the Grama Seva's control. So then what happens is, you want to break up your house, you build, you get a permit from them that you are living there, you do whatever you want. You want to build a new house, you can have an additional land to put it. When it's with the plantation, only the tea workers are allowed to do these things. So if somebody else goes, even they can't pluck a jackfruit from the jack tree. So even the tea worker is not allowed to pluck. So the inventory is being monitored and maintained by a third private man, which we don't want. That is the estate management.
Right.
We want, working condition to be managed and monitored by the company, a working setup, but not a living setup. So for that, the only option is, like, every citizen has a right to live in this world, has a right to live in this country, has a right to live in the plantation. We should go under the rules of the Sri Lankan government, not under the rules of the plantation companies. So if we gazette this area and take, then government can do, rebuild the houses, do whatever they want in those areas, where we don't have to ask permission or anything from those plantation companies. They consider only the tea workers. Even while putting housing program, they recommend only the tea workers. So there are a huge count of non-tea workers there. So what is the solution for them? So like that, we have a lot of issues which we want to put. Now, for example, you take it on the national side. We were without our citizenship for 30 years. Our citizenship was taken out. And the teaching appointments, the appointments on government departments and developments, all that was backlogged for 30 years for us. So now it's a time where we are asking the government, how are you going to compromise that 30 years? Now, when another community had an opportunity for 30 years in this country, the tea plantation workers didn't have that opportunity for 30 years in this country for the rights enjoyed by the other community in Sri Lanka. So now, as a compromise, I want to know, for that 30 years, so to make the ratio correct, what are you going to give for the next 5 years for the plantation community? So like that, we are working out on a lot of things.
So it's an accelerated program that you're looking at.
Of course, because when I am entitled for so much and my community is not is deprived of that, I must make sure that I get it back, because
Absolutely.
Even when during the COVID time, when everybody stopped work, everybody wanted to be safe in the house. The tea plantation workers worked day and night to make sure that we get dollar into the country. Only because of that, at least there was some few hope in this country. There was some dollar coming. If the planting workers also had stopped their work, the country would have gone to zero and got a full stop. We would have become totally doomed. But the tree plantation worker never let down Sri Lanka. So we didn't want to trouble the government till now because we know it's a crisis. And now as we are developing higher, we want to know that 30 years compromise, because it was a whatever government taken action in 1948 by removing our citizenship, the present government is liable to give us the answer. So we are very confident that we will be raising out that and make sure that 30 years program is being, whatever was given in 30 years, our equations, whatever was left out, must be given by the government today. So these are very fair requests, what I feel. I'm not asking for 31 years. I'm asking only for 30.
You spoke about housing. Let me try to understand. Now you have workers and other members of the community who are living in the line rooms, and those technically belong to the government, the plantation, and so the line room and the land that it's on. Now the plan which you and your party and the president have discussed is to gazette it so that some of this land would then be available to be distributed to the community.
Also, not only that, also,
right,
that is the present land, you want to put up, remove your roof and put another building up.
right.
You don't have to get the plantation company's approval, because
Right.
the Grama Seva would have given it, it's your house, you do it. So like that, to repair, you put up a toilet or anything like that, like how in a singular village a singular person can do, in a Muslim village a Muslim can do, same way in a tea plantation area a tea plantation worker can do. I can give you a very good example for that. The Indian government gave around 50,000 houses to Sri Lanka as a donation after the war. In that, 46,000 in north and east was built within a year.
Right.
Within a year.
Yes.
And 4,000 houses in upcountry took around almost 8 years to 9 years to complete. Just 4,000, and they are 46,000. So when I understand what is the issue is, here these lands are being given lease to plantation, and plantation for everything they are telling one reason. But there the land belongs to the government. So government had started the work. So the only minuses what I feel there is the support we get from the plantation in doing the development that area. And that too, there are a lot of conditions that the only estate worker should be given, nobody else should be given, like that. There are a lot of conditions. So I'm also for it, the estate worker should be given priority. Same way, there's another huge committee, educated committee in the states, where they are living without a hope. So we must make sure that we give them hope and confidence to live in this country and make them feel that Sri Lanka is their country.
Now let's take a look at the future of the plantation sector, specifically tea plantations. It's been, of course, the main pillar of the Sri Lankan economy for nearly 200 years. But in the future, where do you see it going? Especially in relation to the fact that the plantation community cannot simply go on existing as they are.
Now, as you know, the time keep changing. I'm looking at the tea plantation in other countries. There's now modernization going. At a period of time, we will not have much plantation workers. So it will convert into machineries will be operated. So, but for other countries, it's not an issue, but Sri Lanka, it's an issue, because Sri Lanka is famous for hand-picked tea. So the Sri Lanka market is for hand-picked tea. So as long as the plantation workers are there, there's always a demand for Sri Lankan tea. Once it's going to be machine plucked, it's same as what is plucked in India and Africa and different parts of the world. So I think Sri Lanka still holds number one quality tea because it's hand-picked. And humans know when this leaf should be plucked, whether it should be plucked today or it should be plucked next week. But machine doesn't do like that. It cuts off all the bushes. So, the taste starts varying. And there are a lot of more complications when machine starts to pick. You start losing your brand. The Ceylon tea brand, it starts coming down.
Right. So in the future, there would have to be some kind of compromise between the need to maintain quality while at the same time you may see a shortage of workers and so on. Right. Now, Governor, what about President Ranil Wickremesinghe's economic program? Now he has run a program for a little over 2 years and brought the economy to a situation of growth. But the president himself has warned that in 2028, a lot of this debt, which was basically kicked down the road to 2028, we will need to start repaying. So we need to see a more massive economic growth between now and 2028. How do you see that turning out? What would be the pillars of such an economic plan?
What President says is correct. First of all, we must make sure that any investor coming into Sri Lanka must feel comfortable. And you know, any investor going to Dubai and Singapore, they are much 100 times comfortable coming into Sri Lanka. You take any project, there's somebody protesting, there's somebody objecting, there's somebody going to courts. So end of the day, you know, I feel that if this is going to continue, if you are going to develop a nation, yes, you will have to give a red carpet welcome to the investors. If you feel that no, you don't want the country to develop, and there are people like that who don't want this country to develop, they want to protest because they don't have any other work. I think when they just get up out of the bed, they think, okay, today let's go protest for this, tomorrow let's go protest for that. So, you know, when you keep on protesting against all new projects coming, I don't find an investor who's willing to come to Sri Lanka. So, if this is continuing, yes, to 2020 it is going to be a very big, hard task for all of us. If people try to understand, if a factory is coming, an investor is coming, is going to give 500 people job, 200 people job, the economy is going to grow. And as well as we are going to get a dollar exchange coming in. But people are not worried about that. They talk some different stories and say that that man is in blue color, that man is in yellow color, so we want to protest. So these things doesn't work well. In a country, I think, yes, we must look in for development.
But what other sectors in the economy would Sri Lanka be looking at? I mean, we have relied on the plantations for so long, tea and then apparel, and of course our workers in the Middle East are sending in their remittances. But that has gone on for 20, 30 years now. Tea has gone on for 200 years. What are the driving forces? Which industries can we look at?
Now see, you take at Maldives. I'm just telling about tourism. You have even $1,000 a room where you're not able to get at times. But here for $100 even the rooms are available. You know, so we have to make sure, you know, Maldives, you don't have a wildlife sanctuary, you don't have a hill areas, you don't have a upcountry, you don't have, you know, you have only beach. But here you have a multiple option. So we have to make sure that, you know, we attract the tourists who are going to Maldives. We don't have to do very big things. People who are just crossing above us and going to Maldives should put a break here. I'm just trying to say. Like that, you know, you take even apparel. Bangladesh 20, 30 years back was nowhere. Now to see, because of the apparel industry, they developed a hell. We have the same resources. We have the more technical team here. We can give a tough fight on that. So not only this, we have very good natural resources. This natural resources has a value and an age. Now you take sapphire. If that age crosses of the sapphire, then it's zero value. Like that one period there was mosaic floors, then they became marble, then they became granite. Like that, you know, now tiles. Like that, you know, time to time things keep on changing. And we will have to capitalize our natural resources. We have to capitalize our whatever can be done. We have a huge land bank where we can do agriculture. So these things all must be looked forward and made sure that we have a plan for 2028 where we become an export-oriented country. So once we are an export-oriented country, we are 100% confident that all these debts can be served.
It looks like you're actually saying we should focus on optimizing the value of our existing industries like tourism. You gave a
value add, we have to add
value addition, and therefore you can sell it at a higher rate. You gave the example of tourism, Maldives and Sri Lanka.
One man doesn't only want to go to a beach. If he comes to Sri Lanka, he can go beach, he can go to a hill country, he can go to a wildlife sanctuary. You know, you can have a multiple option. So I think normally tourists prefer that. No, I find people going flying above us, but not getting down. That's because of the image of, you know, repeated protests, repeated these things. People are not interested to come, you know, they feel they want to go and have a free time and relaxed time and all that. So we must make sure that, you know, we concentrate on more of the development part and, you know, put an end to all these communal issues and all these unnecessary, unwanted issues which are required for Sri Lanka. You know, you have 4 religions living in Sri Lanka. We have the Hindu, Muslims, Christians and the Buddhists. In a neighboring country like India, I think they have around 100 religion, people with 100 religion and many languages living. I don't find a problem like this now. This if 4 people can't live together. So then where are we going up to in such a small country? So we must, you know, educate our children. We must make sure that, you know, this puts an end to racism and make sure Sri Lanka was a country like that. It was an example. We were without racism. And to see now it has been going everywhere through politics. I feel that there should be a strong full stop to this.
Indeed, many of our challenges that we have faced seem to have been homegrown, things which our own communities or politicians have foisted upon us, and it has destroyed the economy and the country, held us back for a long time. So what you're saying is that peace and harmony are vital for the country to go forward.
In multiple ways, for investors to come in, for tourists to come in and all that.
Let's talk a little bit about the giant economy next door, India, and specifically the growth, the remarkable growth of Tamil Nadu. And it's just across the Park Strait, but Sri Lanka and Sri Lankans have ignored this wonderful opportunity right next door for so long. What are your views on this?
I feel that, you know, connectivity with India and Tamil Nadu must grow stronger because they are our closest neighbor, and Tamil Nadu has a very strong cultural connect with Sri Lanka during the King's period. So and basically our culture is almost similar. We all follow the Asian culture. So the Asian culture is similar, and people of Tamil Nadu are economically very strong, and we don't have to go behind anyone. But I say that I feel that, you know, if we have a stronger relationship with people of Tamil Nadu, we can work on certain things where certain exports to Sri Lanka are tax-free. Certain export through Sri Lanka fetches a better price than going from India. So those commodities can be concentrated in Sri Lanka and marketed and exported from here.
Now, one of the issues that we have seen for decades is this fear of India, and perhaps it is due to the politics or Indian politics or our local politics, but there remains this fear of integrating our economies together, the sort of fear that we'll be swallowed up. How would you go about dealing with this kind of this nervousness?
Normally, India joining with us will not bring India's economy down. India joining with us will pull our economy up. So we have to think whether whether our economy should be benefited. Yes, tomorrow, if needed, we'll have to join with Maldives also. If needed, we'll have to join with Japan also. Nothing wrong in joining hands with country to develop our economy. But, you know, we must understand that we are not going to sell the sovereignty of Sri Lanka to anyone. Sri Lanka's sovereignty will also always be held in a high position We will never dilute the sovereignty. But economically, yes, we'll have to work with countries, and yes, we have. Even our parliament was built by somebody else, no? A parliament, I think, was built by Japan.
And the BMICH was built by China.
So, there have been a lot of instances where different countries have worked with us together. That doesn't mean that, our parliament is bound to Japan. We respect their friendship. They respect our friendship. So it's a matter of fact that as an economy, we work with others, especially with the nations above us, not with the nation below us. So when we work with a nation above us, we are very confident that our economy will grow.
We are in conversation with Governor Senthil Thondaman, the president of the CWC. We will cross over for a short commercial break right now. Don't go away, we'll be right back.
ජනප්‍රිය ගායන ශිල්පිනී නෙල්කා තිලිනිගේ නවතම ගීතය Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube ඇතුළු ඔබගේ ප්‍රියතම සංගීත සේවාවන් හරහා රස විඳින්න.
Entertainments.
If you want to create your life, create it. This is your opportunity to change your destiny. සඳහි දක්ෂිණ ද්‍රවයට ගොඩ පැසූ අතර මේ ඔවුන්ගේ චන්ද්‍ර ගවේෂණයේ පළමු මෙහෙයුමයි. Bring us to witness season 4 Saturday
at 6:30 p.m. on TV1.
Welcome back to Face to Face. We are in conversation with Governor Senthil Thondaman, President of the CWC, and the CWC has, of course, recently thrown its weight behind President Ranil Wickremesinghe's presidential campaign. And we have been discussing the economic impact of President Wickremesinghe and the future plans for the economy, especially with relation to India. Governor, now let's focus a little bit more on connectivity with India, which you mentioned earlier. When you say connectivity, what exactly do you mean? Physically, we have the ferry service has restarted. There is air connectivity, both from Katunayaka and from Palali. And what about the land bridge? There's a project which is expected to start up in the next few years.
I'm not talking about the passenger connectivity. So the passenger connectivity falls under tourism. So I'm talking about economic development connectivity. Like, semi-finished goods in India brought down to Sri Lanka, they value add it and export it from here. So that, we have to have different concession levels to get them to invest here, bring down their goods here, manufacturing goods here, set up industries here and export. Even if they re-export to India, I think it's cheaper for them as well as it's good for us. Imagine India's population, 100 times of Sri Lanka, maybe even 500 times of Sri Lanka. So this population is our end user, our customer. So we must target that customer so that we develop our economy. So for example, if we are able to target the Indian customers, the population, that's going to be a very big economic support for us. Only on 5-6 commodities is more than enough to support Sri Lanka's economy in a big way. So I feel that we have to start working on it. We don't have to take our commodities to Europe and America and this side Australia so far away. We just have 30 kilometers from Mannar. We can hit such a big country. But I feel that, and I feel that they always have a soft corner for us with the amount of 4 billion USD which they gave us during the economic crisis at a very minimum charge. So I feel that they don't have to give that because we are not a part of them. They can give them to the Andaman Nicobar Islands or Lakshadweep Islands, which is a part of India. We are not a part of India, so they don't have to support us. But considering the fact that we are in a crisis and being a neighbor, they came forward. So that kind of a gentle way of handling Sri Lanka is highly appreciated. So I feel that, India is a good option for us to establish our commodity productions and make sure that Sri Lanka gets developed with India's economy together.
You were speaking, of course, of the 4 billion credit line which was given to us by the government of Narendra Modi at the time when we didn't have foreign exchange for purchasing of fuel. So I believe even now that credit line is what is keeping us going. Now, Governor, how about Indian investment into Sri Lanka? Now, we have seen some investment in recent years. A few projects have actually been completed, such as the ITC Hotel on Golf Race Green, which is quite a remarkable structure. But there are many other projects which are in the pipeline. Could you tell us a little bit about those projects?
Like now you take the solar and wind, renewable energy power plants which are coming on the west coast, Adani's program. I think, I don't know why people are protesting and all that. For renewable energy, I don't feel that people should protest. Because,
I believe that is before court now. So,
yeah, that is before
yes.
court, I also believe. So, certain things, the amount of the coal we import, we lose foreign exchange. The amount of thermal plant we use on the thermal plant,
the diesel and
diesel
yes.
and everything, the coal and all that, the amount of pollution it creates. It's a huge loss to the country. And when somebody is going to, our wind, which is not being utilized, is going to be converted to current. The sun falling in Sri Lanka, which is not being utilized, is going to converted to current. And technically, principally, I feel, that's really very good. When somebody who's come to invest for 500 megawatts, and, they are ready to put the investment, and the Sri Lankan government is ready to buy, the amount of money we pay to the coal, or we pay for the thermal energy, whatever we pay, we can pay to our renewable energy, to develop our renewable energy. So what happens is, in a period when there's shortage of coal, or there's shortage of fuel and all that, what are we going to do for the electricity? That time you can't be going and searching these people and trying to bring them again to invest, because before that, nobody will come to invest. Now last couple of weeks, there were a couple of people who wanted to invest on renewable energy in Eastern Province. With this court case and all that going, they all backed off and went away. They said, no, we would prefer to invest in another country, rather than they wanted to go to Malaysia and invest. They said they don't want to invest in Sri Lanka. They said halfway through, you all will go to courts, go and get an interim stay and things like that. And the investment what we bought in is stuck, so we don't want to do. So the people's ideology, I'm not talking about the process of the project. I'm talking about the concept of the project. So there's difference between process of the project and concept of the project. I'm not trying to argue that, this process was correct. Technically, they did this way. I'm not talking about, because I'm not a technical guy. But the concept of the project is very good. I feel that if Adani is not given an opportunity to do, at least the Sri Lankan government must adopt that ideology and do. So we have to make sure that we utilize our wind, our water, our sunlight, and make sure we get free electricity. The raw materials are free. The wind is not going to charge you, the water is not going to charge you, the sun is not going to charge you. Then why do you want to pay money for diesel and coal and produce electricity? Not needed. So these are the things where I see that, investors should be given confidence. So if that confidence is given, yes, we will have more investment coming into Sri Lanka.
Very good points indeed, especially with regard to renewable energy. Now you are the governor of the Eastern Province, which has, I believe, one of the longest coastlines of any province in Sri Lanka. Where do you see the Eastern Province, and specifically the port of Trincomalee, being positioned in Sri Lanka going forward?
Trincomalee port again can be looked in a very big way, because you know the ships going transiting India or Sri Lanka, everyone doesn't have to come to Colombo. Trincomalee is one of the world's best natural harbors, and one of the largest also in the world, maybe second or third. So we can have this is the proposal which I am proposing. The main vessels can come to Trincomalee and leave. We can have feeder vessels from there to take to different destinations of India. Whatever the supplies, now if it has go to Chennai, then from Chennai, you know, they send it to Visakhapatnam, then they send it to Cochin, they send it to different parts of India. So what I am saying, if more than going to Tamil Nadu and India, it's easy for the vessels to come to Trincomalee. So from here, if we can start as a feeder vessel hub, from here, you know, you can go to Pakistan, it can go to Cochin, Chennai, Visakhapatnam, Mumbai, and different parts of the world. But we can make Trincomalee as a point, because Colombo is, you know, it's full. You will have to wait for days to get the other ships to come in. But Trincomalee can be looked on priority, which will not only develop Trincomalee but the entire east.
Now, it strikes me that Trincomalee is an asset which we have been sitting on for 76 years, or almost that much, because we always knew it's one of the finest harbors in the world, but it was never really developed, was it?
Yes.
And that is a problem. You can't suddenly start bringing major container liners into Trincomalee right now. It would take a lot of development.
No, I'm saying this is a plan, but we'll have to start working on it.
Right. So that also would be an area where perhaps there could be foreign investment.
Of course, there can be foreign investment, and also we are looking on service stations for the ships.
Bunkering.
Yeah, bunkering, yes, and all that, and we are looking for, you know, this entire stretch of Indian Oceans. If they find a ship in the middle of the sea, the easiest place to tow and bring it is to Trincomalee. So we planning on different options to develop Trincomalee. So we are working on it, and Honorable Minister Nimal Siripala, myself, and on the Indian counterpart, as well as the other foreign investments from Japan and things like that. We are seeing how we can develop the economy of Eastern Province. As of now, the Trincomalee port is being signed with India for the development, where India will take care of the development, because our closest neighbor is India. Whatever the goods coming to Sri Lanka is a very small quantity. The major quantity is going to India. So when India develops, we are strong that, you know, that the vessels of Indian vessels which are going through this transiting can stop at Trincomalee, and from there we can do it through the feeder vessels.
Excellent, excellent. And what about fisheries? That's another area. Now Sri Lanka's fishing industry is quite weak. We continue to, although we export a lot of fish, we do import some as well. What is the future of the fisheries industry?
And there's a very good future for fisheries industry, because we maintain the fisheries industry can grow very good in Sri Lanka, because, you know, we have a ban on bottom trawling. As there's a ban on bottom trawling, I think, you know, the multiplication of the fishes is being maintained in a perfect way, so that there is more opportunity for fishermen to develop their business as well as to develop the industry. And we are also looking on setting up corporate prawn culture and things like that, where we can grow these fishes and prawns which are specialized in Sri Lanka's waters and export it to different parts of the world, which has a huge market, which will also bring a very good foreign exchange to Sri Lanka.
And what about tourism? Of course, the East Coast has some of the finest beaches in the country, but unfortunately, the northeast monsoon happens at the time of the European winter. So European winter tourists generally would not be able to go to the east.
That's it.
How would you position the eastern tourism?
No. What we have made up plans is, we don't concentrate only on the beach. So when monsoons comes, the beaches are zero occupancy. So we also have wildlife sanctuaries. We are trying to develop agriculture ecotourism. We are planning to develop heritage tourism, heritage sites visiting. Then we are also planning wildlife. Like that, we are trying to give options for tourists to come also during the monsoon time, where the beach will be only a part of our tourism sector. Now we are totally relying on beaches. So we are also trying to divert our tourism industry into other sectors in Eastern Province, so that we have 365 days tourists coming to Eastern Province.
Excellent. And any other industries which strike you or which you have been working on in the East?
Yeah, we have a huge of mineral deposits. So, Lanka mineral sands, they are processing ilmenite and exporting to different parts of the world.
That's right.
Yeah, so now we are only concentrating on a small portion of land and a small area. But we have a huge deposits, which are being deposited in the sea banks and then again, washed away by the waters. So I'm just discussing with Lanka Mineral Sands to see whether they can expand their production, which will give us more revenue to Sri Lanka, because these mineral sands are like gold. So you have gold and you don't make money on it. So if we have a usage of mineral sands, yes, we use it. If not, we export it, so that we make the Sri Lanka's economy more stronger. East alone is enough to repay Sri Lanka's debts.
Interesting thoughts indeed. And I'm afraid on that note we are out of time. My thanks to Governor Senthil Thondaman, President of the CWC, for spending this time with us this evening. And thank you to you at home for watching. Don't go away, because the news is coming up next. Have a good night.